By far, my favorite thing to study from the entirety of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise are its levels, which across its entries are always unique experiences, leading to some insanely memorable moments. Now, I've made several videos focusing on some of the best, worst, hardest, easiest, and weirdest ones, where today in particular, I want to look at some of the most forgotten stages across every game in the series, going through exactly why they fit this category, and any outstanding characteristics they may have. Most of these are here because they required you to go off the beaten path to find them, they were really boring not sticking out, or I just straight up didn't remember them for some reason. And oh yeah, before we get started, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet then please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. Of course, the very first game we're going to look at is Mario's home console debut in Super Mario Bros. For the NES, where there's one type of level I always forgot about in this game, in the cheap athletic ones. These are the bridge stages where you have to dodge a barrage of flying cheeps, which can get very hectic at times as you either have to go very fast or be really patient. I'm not sure why this one slips my mind, as honestly it should be one of the most memorable, but this could be due to there only being 2 of them in World 2-3 and 7-3, both in places that could be skipped via warp pipe. The next to be released in North America is Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, where here I want to talk about an entire world I had somehow forgotten about in World 5. I think this has a lot to do with me usually taking the warp through the jar in World 4 too, which transports me straight to World 6, so I completely miss out on playing those ones. World 5-1 is interesting as it's an underground stage that includes having to skillfully maneuver between jumping trouters, which can be quite hard. World 5-2 focuses on the hoopster enemy, where you need to carefully move around and platform on top of many of them, as they move up and down on a tree trying to damage you. World 5-3 leads you to the boss fight against the crab-like claw grip, having to scoop up the rocks it throws at you, to throw them back at it to defeat it. Even though you do also skip the Frog Eye boss fight in World 4-3 as well when you warp, that battle is much more memorable than the claw grip, both because of difficulty, but also just in overall coolness. The final of the original trilogy, Super Mario Bros. 3, came out for the NES in 1990, where for some reason, World 5 again was forgotten in my memory, where everything here revolves around cloud-based platforming with some interesting enemies. A few standouts include World 5-4, needing to maneuver around the spinning rotary lifts, World 5-6, where you need to use the parabeetles to cross the large void, World 5-9, which is a cool vertical auto-scrolling stage where the rare Flame Chomp foe makes an appearance, and the World 5 Pipe transitional stage between the low ground and cloud areas of the world, where you can actually collect a 1-up shroom by hitting this specific brick. Another level I want to mention is World 6-10, which involves blocks of ice that have coins or munchers encased in them, being able to melt them away if you hit them with a fireball. You can even gain the elusive hammer suit down a pipe that's being blocked by one of these icy cubes, which is a power-up that's very useful as it allows you to one-shot most enemies. The final level I want to look at that I forgot is World 7-7, which is pretty unique as you have to be powered up with the superstar the entire time, passing everything by running on top of dozens of munchers while needing to kill any piranha plants that get in your way. These were some of my favorite types of levels to play in Super Mario Maker, and I didn't realize this is where the origins of it come from, as I thought the idea was just a fan-made creation. Next, I want to look at 2 levels from the Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels entry that wasn't released in North America until it was bundled alongside the Super Mario All-Stars SNES collection, starting with the Fantasy World one in World 9-4. I always forget that this stage contains a very interesting Easter egg in the Japanese characters that show up within it, spelling out arigato, which if you didn't know, simply just means thank you. Nintendo usually includes some sort of nod to the fans for fully completing their games, although here it's in Japanese, so I'm going to assume many people didn't even know what it said. The last level I want to talk about is actually the final secret level of the game in World D4, as I don't remember it being so diverse with its varying areas that really culminates everything you've seen so far. Part of its forgetfulness is definitely due to it being hard to get to, as in the original Famicom version, it required you to beat the game 8 times in a row without saving to access the lettered worlds. However, at least in the SNES version, it's playable directly after Fantasy World, Although also remember, this entry is no cakewalk to begin with. I can't say there's really any forgotten levels in Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, as there's literally only 12 of them, but there is one that shocks me each time I play it, as I always underestimate its toughness in World 4 too. This is where you'll see a lot of enemies laid out in some very annoying places, where without a star, you're guaranteed to die several times during certain sections. Although I do enjoy hard levels, I just feel like the difficulty spike is way too big, and even a seasoned player like myself struggles from time to time. Super Mario World that came out for the SNES is up next in this video, containing a bunch of levels that fit perfectly within its confines, starting with the upper portion of the Twin Bridges area. This separate, more secretive path can only be reached through an alternate exit of Vanilla Dome 1, leading to a pipe that takes you to a higher area, where you have to complete levels like the vertical cave-oriented Vanilla Secret 1, the outdoor area that's overrun by Koopas in Vanilla Secret 2, the insane stage where you need to ride dolphins across a body of water in Vanilla Secret 3, the weird but cool underwater fortress, the thin platform Butter Bridge stage, and the aerial stage full of Super Koopas that is Butter Bridge 2. One level on the lower bridge that not many people have seen is Soda Lake, all due to how impossible it is to find the exit that leads to the stage. This all takes place through the Cheese Bridge area, where you need to be powered up with a cape feather so you can skillfully glide past the first gate and find the secret second one behind it. This is literally the hardest thing that you can do in this entire game. And even with the Switch's rewind feature, this will give you tons of trouble. So imagine you didn't have that, and the amount of lives you've definitely lost trying to find this. This then lets you access that Soda Lake stage, where you'll find the rare and strange Torpedo Ted bad guy, released by hands that look a lot like Disney's mouse mascot. Getting to the end of this one leads you to Star World, which is a nice little treat for finding this out-of-place area. And honestly, I could go on forever about forgotten things in this title, so let me know if I left something out in the comments below. The second handheld entry in the series is Super Mario Land 2 for the Game Boy, containing 3 levels that have been forgotten to me, starting with the Macro Zone Special Stage. Found by going through the secret exit in the first level of the world, this special course is an auto-scroller in an air-based setting, needing to make it to the end while platforming across the brick obstacles. If you're lucky enough and powered up in Super Mario form, then you can break some of the bricks and collect mini coins. And as a bonus, if you're powered up with the Fire Flower, then you can break even more bricks, leading to a 1-up heart. The other 2 levels I want to showcase are both located in the Pumpkin Zone as both of its secret courses, with me forgetting them due to how drastically different they are than the others you find here. Instead of the Halloween-y feel that's usually associated with the Pumpkin Zone, these instead take place outdoors, where you can gain prizes like coins or hearts. I'm not sure why they decided to go off theme with these 2, but at least they're interesting and a great break from the usual gameplay we'd expect. The first game in the franchise based in the 3D realm is Super Mario 64 for the N64, where there's really only one level that I consistently forget about, as it's very hidden in the secret aquarium. This is found within the same room that the Jolly Roger Bay painting is located, where entering the square hole in the wall takes you to an underwater area where you have to collect 8 red coins. There is only water in this level, meaning the only way you can fill up your air meter is by collecting the coins, including regular ones, so you shouldn't have that much trouble. The only thing that's comparable in secrecy is the Tower of the Winged Cap level, but that was something that I remember friends always talking about as a kid, so it definitely wasn't forgettable. Next up is Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube, which actually has one area you can visit that I literally never ever remember seeing in the Crate Guy shop in Delfino Plaza. I guess you could argue this is just a sub-area of the overworld, but for the interest of this video, I'll ignore that, especially as there are 2 shine sprites for you to collect. These are called Boxing Clever 1 and 2, needing to smash all the boxes before time runs out, leading to the prizes I just mentioned. One place that I found northwest of Delfino Plaza that I definitely consider its own stage is the Red Coin Field, needing to use the rocket nozzle to blast up to the secret pipe. In this tall grass area, you need to collect the 8 red coins as its name suggests, gotten by defeating enemies or solving puzzles. I did at one point fully complete Super Mario Sunshine, but that was nearly 20 years ago, so I definitely want to play through it again and see if there's any more that I forgot. Nintendo would end up returning Mario to its 2D roots with a new Super Mario Bros. Series, where the first game was released for the DS, having a few levels I actually want to look at, starting with World 5C. This one has a mix of underground and mountaintop elements, centered around the weird bruiser ghost-like foe that breaks bricks so you can collect goodies. There's also a secret outside area that can be accessed through a vine hidden within a block, leading you to a star coin, some regular coins, and of course the top of the flagpole. World 6B is another level I'd forgotten, here having to descend the mountainside using ropes, mushroom platforms, and cannon pipes. This level's actually quite unique, and I love how it kind of tells a story of a random mustachioed plumber trying his hand at rock climbing. The final stage I want to mention from this title is World 7A, which is pipe world oriented with many secrets to find. Most of these are by using the mini mushrooms so they can fit into much smaller pipes, allowing you to reach places where there's star coins, and even a roulette block. Next to be released was the space-based Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii, having only one stage that I really blanked from my mind in the Sand Spiral Galaxy. Almost every single part of this one I forgot, from using the Boo Shroom to traverse down the treacherous corridor, to needing to use the star to get to the middle planet with the star, which is all a very short experience, so that might explain why. There's also only one singular star to collect from this level, so I guess that's another reason why it made it in this video. The second entrance in the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii in 2009, where there is one level that always surprises me every time I play it in World 6-6. This is the underground water stage where everything is shrouded in darkness. That is, except a raft with a light attached to it, needing to ride it to the end while platforming on what you can. You control the light with the motion controls of your Wiimote, which sort of makes things more difficult in this already tough stage. The second space-based entry, Super Mario Galaxy 2, actually has 3 forgotten stages I want to talk about, starting with the Sweet Mystery Galaxy. Now, I remember the Sweet Galaxy from the previous entry, but not this World 4 level I guess isn't as memorable, even with the added factor of having to use Yoshi's Ball Berry. This is the power-up that reveals passages to you that aren't normally seen, needing to use this to understand where to move forward and platform to. The second level is the Twisty Trials Galaxy of World S, needing to platform across these rotating, moving objects towards the star. If this stage looks familiar, that's because it's heavily inspired by the Secret of Rico Tower sub-area of Rico Harbor, which is probably why I'd forgotten it was used again in a later game. Finally, the last level I want to mention is the Clockwork Runes Galaxy of World 6, needing to maneuver on these giant rotating wheels that have obstacles built within them. This one takes tons of patience as there's a lot of exploring to do and tons of enemies that can get in your way. And I can't believe I looked over this stage all these years, as it's truly amazing and deserves to be revisited. Nintendo would perfectly blend the 2D and 3D realms with the release of Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, where there's actually a bunch of levels that for some reason became forgotten to me, starting with World 6-2. Here things take place all within the confines of a pyramid, having to go room to room, avoiding the hazards and enemies while collecting the star coins. The farther you go, the cooler but more dangerous the rooms become. Although, if you're powered up, it's not like it's that hard. The next is World 8-1, which contains giant spike balls that are sent rolling towards you, needing to avoid them while scaling upwards to reach the end. You also have to use a cannon at the very end to get to the top of the flagpole, as taking the pipe to that area gives you no opportunity to get up there. Special 3-1 is up next, which is a stage where you need to carefully jump between breakaway donut blocks and pendulum platforms, where even with a power-up, I had trouble. I don't think I've died more trying to get this level's star coins, where one wrong move will send you plummeting to the void. The final I want to look at is Special 4-1, which is truly an amazing level where you have to ride an elevator platform both vertically and horizontally. At some points, a plethora of enemies overwhelm you, and the platforms you're on begin to break away, needing you to really be careful and take your time. The third entry in the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the 3DS in 2012. Having a couple levels I want to show off in this video, starting with World Mushroom B. This is an out-of-the-way auto-scrolling stage composed of mini beanstalks, mushroom platforms, and Koopa Troopas that want to damage you, needing to make your way upwards to find the goal. There's also a hidden beanstalk at the end of the vertical section that allows you to get to a higher area so you can reach the top of the flagpole. Just another secret in this already out-of-place stage. The other I quickly want to mention is World Flower A, taking place in an underground icy area where you need to ride slippery, moving platforms to progress forward. The enemies that get in your way is what makes this one a lot of trouble, and I think if it were a regular level and not something off the beaten path, then it would have been talked about a lot more. The final installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii U, then was later re-released as a deluxe version on the Switch, having one level that I'd forgotten about in Superstar Road 9. This one's called Follow That Shell, where you have to do just that in certain situations to easily clear enemies and find secrets. This one could be cool, but unfortunately it's not hard by any stretch of the imagination, and I can see why it's forgettable as it's sort of lacking any risk or reward. There's actually one very fun level that I'd forgotten about from Super Mario 3D World in Plessie's Dune Downhill, taking place in World Bowser. This one is a Plessie-based stage, meaning you need to ride on top of your large dino buddy towards the goal, defeating enemies with its giant body, and gathering items along the way. What's interesting about this one, however, is that the usual water Plessie's associated with is replaced here by sand. A cool / strange change that just adds a different unique touch to the stage. The absolutely massive Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch is up next, where there's one level I'm sure that Nintendo wants you to forget in the Cloud Kingdom. There's really not much to talk about from this pretty bland and boring stage, and there's really only one main area from it, with very little moons to collect. I do hope that if there's ever a Super Mario Odyssey 2, that they revisit this kingdom and make it a bit better than just, bland cloud-based platforming, which honestly in the end was just embarrassing. The final title we're going to look at in this video is the Bowser's Fury game mode, that was bundled alongside Super Mario 3D World during its Switch re-release, which has one area I'd actually liked while playing but had forgotten about in Rolling Roller Isle. I think this all has to do with the fact that it's tucked out of the way and not a place you continuously return to. But either way, it's a fun spot to platform around due to how hard it can actually be. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and subscribe to my channel, especially if you want to see Super Mario Bros. Wonder content, as I'm going to be making many videos for that game. Also, please go follow my Instagram at Copycat Gamer. There I upload some cool clips and items for my collection that you won't see anywhere else. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!